All right, almost day 70. Business model, guys. If you're new to this, business model is M&A. We're going to be buying businesses using leverage, using loans, and we're going to create a portfolio and sell it for a higher multiple than we bought it at. So today I got some news. I'm not really going to go over exactly what happened in my day. I'm just going to kind of lay out some thoughts I had from stuff that happened today. So one thing that I did today, woke up kind of early, around 7, and I had a meeting with one of the potential board members, just trying to lock in the board. It's basically done, but today I locked in the lawyer. And guys, the lawyer on my board is a big hitter. I really like this new lawyer. He's solid. He's way better than the past lawyer that I had. And I think lawyers play a big part in this whole game. You need a solid lawyer. Not as much with an accountant, but if you are going to get an accountant, you need to make sure this accountant has a lot of M&A experience. Not even as much audit experience. It doesn't necessarily matter as much. But let me get back to the point. So today was the first day I actually made cold calls. And not cold calls in my life, just like cold calls to actually try to buy a business. We're actually on the field right now. I'm just gonna take the next step, right? And the goal for this week was to do 200 calls a day. And at the end of the week, hit about 1,400 total. And so far, Monday, today's Monday night, I think it's around like 12-ish. But so far this week, guys, it's not going to plan, plans shift. But today I hit I think it was like about 75-ish calls. And these calls take longer than you'd expect. So on average, after doing the math, it takes about every 2 minutes you spend for one call. So in an hour, you'll hit like 30 calls on average. So I have a list right now. And a big part of why it kind of took me extra time today was because I had to deal with like the list situation. And like you can never fully refine a list. You just have to kind of like take the next step. You just have to take action and it like kind of just falls in place as you go. So like I bought different kind of lists. The one I bought originally had so many repeats and I didn't notice that at first. I paid for this list. It's shitty. I paid like $200 for a terrible list. Exactdata.com. Do not buy any lists from there. I think Dun & Bradstreet. That's the only place that really has good lists, and I didn't even buy a list from there. So, but that's the most reputable one that you'll hear about the most. If you want to have any kind of B2B kind of lists, Dun & Bradstreet. Go there. But I don't even know if they do skip tracing, so it's really hard to skip trace an LLC. Like I don't think you can do that. But back to the point, right? So I'm using this one list and I just see like every single time I'm making a call, it's like to these large corporations that are like worth billions of dollars. And I'm like, okay, I can't call this one. I can't call this one. And I put it on ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, give me a refined list, like refine this list and make sure it has no repeats. And the list like shrinks from like 600 down to like 35. I'm like, dude, screw this list. So I go to another list I found on a government website, and I'm making calls. Like I don't even want to think about it. I just want to like do something, right? I just want to take action, and I make calls. And every time I call, it's like the owner's on the phone, which is kind of weird. Like you have to get through a gatekeeper, which means like there's an office and there's some kind of facility. But I make the call. It's the owner. It's the owner. It's the owner. And I'm kind of realizing that these are all like smaller businesses. So I need to refine it to a certain size business. So there's a section that says like current client consensus. And you could kind of guess by how many clients they have, but it kind of dictates how much revenue they have. So I see some had like hundreds of thousands of current client census. And then some had like, I was more in like the under 80 range. And that's specifically for people in my city because I could refine that. So I have a list of about 700-ish I don't remember exactly how much. It might have been like closer to 1,000. But that's not accounting for the corporations that are like over my limit and the corporations that are under my limit. So the ones that I could really target are like maybe half of that, maybe even less than that. But I'm making the calls today, and guys, I actually got one seller to actually be interested in buying or selling, excuse me. Seller's interested in selling, which is a good sign. But the problem was they only had like, I believe it was, the guy didn't tell me directly, but his friend told me, and then his friend gave the guy my number. The guy called me, but I think the business only made like 300K in revenue, which is not a lot of money. And you know, he was super interested in selling, blah blah blah. But I was just like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't hit our investment criteria. But in hindsight, you know, I should have been seeing the internal financials, the balance sheets, P&Ls, etc. So I'm gonna go ahead and next time that happens, I just want to like take a look at it. Might as well, right? But I'm trying to do the math, right? If I have a list of so I have 700 to like 1,000 within my city. I have 7 to 8,000 total within my state. So if I am to call 7 to 8,000 people, and it takes me an hour for 30 calls, and you do the math, let's do the math. Let's just say 7,000, right? 7,000 people to call, right? Divide that by 30. So 233 hours. Now divide that by 24 hours. So if I call straight for 9.7 days straight, then I'll be able to finish my list. Now that's a lot of time. Now you really get to understand like the timing. And so look, it's not really 9.7 days. It could be 9.7. Let me explain. It's more like, look, a big portion of this 7,000, list, a big portion of it is like companies that are too small and then companies that are too big. So I'm like in the middle. And then these companies, I can't call them all day long because they close, they're going to be closed in from like 5 o'clock, they'll get closed. So I could only really call them from between 6 to 4 to 5-ish. So I only have that amount of time to allocate. So tomorrow, I just want to wake up early, and the whole day I'm going to do calls. We'll see how much I can do. Probably going to be around 200 if I spend like 6 to 7 hours straight calling, just straight. Not assuming that I pause in between to fix scripts or send emails or check a P&L or whatever. I think maybe cold DMs for something like this could actually be very helpful, and I haven't done that yet. I should spend some time here and actually do it. That's my intentions. But everyone I spoke to today, guys, today was a gatekeeper galore. I just had to, every call I made today, someone answered. I would say 95% of all the calls I made today, someone answered. So it takes a lot of time out of your day when like you're dealing with these gatekeepers and you're trying to get through them. What I like to say is, hey, my name is from, company name. And then I say, I'm the CEO of, so like, let me just give a better example. Like, ring, ring, ring. Hi, this is whoever from XYZ company. I say, hi, my name is McDad. I'm actually the CEO of, the company name. And I'm actually looking to speak to the owner about a confidential business opportunity. Is there any way you could connect me with the business owner or connect me, I don't say it like that. It's either or. Or I might say, I'm looking to speak to the owner in regards of a joint venture. But some people don't understand that. So I just say confidential business opportunity. And when they really try to press me, a couple times today, I would just tell them, hey, I'm actually looking to buy this business. And then a couple times the gatekeeper would have a good relationship with the business owner and they'll tell me, oh, no, they're not interested. Or, oh, okay, let me get your info down. And info down is like the worst one because it takes up your time. And they're almost never gonna call you back. I gave my info a bunch of times today, and I actually had one person call me back, and it was like a partner that wasn't a majority shareholder. So they called me and they gave me the number of the majority shareholder, which I believe I called, but they didn't answer. I should probably call again. But these gatekeepers is really what's gonna stop me. Like, I'm not making this stuff out of thin air. The whole joint venture, which is one option you say, or confidential business opportunity, these are things that I know that other people use that have been successful. Like Dan Pena says, say I'm actually looking to speak to the owner in regards of a joint venture. And he says like it gets you through the gatekeeper faster than Vaseline. And I'm not gonna say exactly what he says. He has, you know, he has a different type of tone when he speaks. And yeah, it wasn't working for me today. I find that these gatekeepers, they tend to be super lazy. They don't want to connect you with anyone. And they don't want to look around for someone's number. Like they don't even know the extensions to the people you're trying to connect with. So they're just lazy. They don't want to connect you with anyone. But I'm going to keep trying. And I bet you a lot of these businesses I called today, some of them might have been interested in selling if they actually knew that someone was trying to buy. But you see with these gatekeepers, they don't know about me. I'm literally like a fart in the wind. Like they don't know about it. So I'm gonna hit cold emails because the list I have actually has direct emails, not like a work email. It has like a direct like at Yahoo, at Gmail kind of email. So I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna keep calling. You know, I did have some kind of result today. I had one person interested in selling, but you know, he didn't hit my investment criteria. But something I am going to be interested in is seeing the financials of a business, because I've seen financials on different type of businesses, but within this industry, you know, I think it's going to be valuable. I want to look at least like 100 financials so I could like have very good experience and understand what I'm looking at. So when I see a hot deal, I could tell it's a hot deal. But either way, I'm sure the financials on a small business looks nothing like a big business. It probably looks day and night. They don't even look the same. But yeah, we're steamrolling. Tomorrow I'm gonna have extra time. But the one thing I am thinking about is the fact that I have a job. So how am I supposed to fit the cold calls with the job? How can I hit 100 to 200 calls per day with a job? So doing the math, if I do calls in the morning, if I have like an hour or 2 hours in the morning, you know, that's a decent like 70 calls ish. And if I hit cold calls like during lunchtime, which is, I'm assuming it's probably like an hour, you know, that's another 30 ish. So I'll be at 100. But 100 it's probably not enough. So if I hit calls after work, which it depends on the time. Sometimes I'll probably get off at 4. Sometimes I'll get off at like 6, 7-ish. I honestly don't know when I get off. That's the main issue. I don't really know my schedule. I'll better refine the idea of what I want when I get the schedule. But I'm sure there's ways to work around it for sure. There has to be. Am I messing up? Listen, you have to make money to survive. I'm kind of glad that these videos don't really blow up, because like for example, if some of the board members know that I have a job or whatever, it might discourage them, which I don't want it to discourage them. You know, this is the M&A stuff is the main priority in my life, if I'm being honest. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit the calls tomorrow, and I'm just gonna focus on tomorrow. And then when the next day comes, I'm just gonna focus on that. And then the day after that, and the day after that, and I'm just gonna keep making these videos. And every single day, I'm just gonna update. Every single day will just be every single day. I'm not going to worry too much about what can be and what could go wrong and where it could go. Because until certain things fall in line, you know, you're going to be thinking about that till infinity. It's not going to stop. Like, I could have done more calls today, but in the morning time, I was preparing for my interview. Like, I had some kind of idea of what I want to say, and all I did was practice what I want to say for the meeting. So when I come on the meeting, I sound super professional, super diligent, and super like salesy. Like, I know what I'm saying, and I know how to say it in 10 different type of ways. Every single line I could say it in a different way. I know how to answer every question from different angles because I practiced before it. So I spent the whole morning practicing for the board meeting, locked the person in. After the board meeting, it was around 12-ish, 12 till, I believe it was like 1 or 2. I'm like figuring out scripts, playing with the list and switching between this and that, and kind of understanding what I want to say, which it took me, like, I spent days thinking about it, but until it actually happened, I still had to refine it. So like I really wasted days thinking about it. When you take action, you realize all the thinking was kind of a waste because you're still like needing to think about it after. It's not like you fix something and you're not gonna worry about it anymore. Like, you might as well just start, dude. You're gonna have problems either way. Even if you don't know what you're gonna say and you're gonna mess up, you just start. You don't have to sound perfect. It's a numbers game at the end of the day. It really is. I need to figure out a way to get through these gatekeepers a lot better. And there's no way I make 8,000 calls and don't find one solid deal. There's no way. At least that's my logic. Guys, Dan Peña says 2,000 cold calls for a deal. 2,000. Now, we're at 75 right now. Tomorrow, we should be, let's make it 200 tomorrow, at least 200. So that's at least, what's that? 3-4 hours-ish? 3-4 hours of calls tomorrow. Minimum. Because you don't know what's, man, minimum. Imagine if I come out tomorrow, 300 calls. Let's see what happens. Take it day by day. Let me get to sleep so I can wake up early because it's getting closer to 1 since I'm making this video kind of long. So yeah.